Hey guys, welcome back to Burnin' Rubber Garage. Today we're going to be working on the Honda CRF 50. It's a 2015, pretty clean bike. What we're going to be doing, we're going to swap out the sprocket. I went up one tooth to a 15 from a 14. We're going to see how much top speed I got. On flat ground I was 30, 31. Going downhill I hit 35. So downhill is probably the way I'm going to want to test it, but I know 30 was the top I hit over the road up there, and I'll film that ride. It is cold out, so I got to warm my hands up and stuff like that, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this off. 1 bolt, 2 bolts, and I believe there's another bolt down there. 3 bolts, pull that off, swap this on, and then see, that should give us a little more power. Top end speed-wise. Down low, we should lose something, but first gear's so worthless anyways. It's like you hit the gas and you're maxed out and you're ready to shift. So hopefully this will give us a little more first, still be pretty usable, get us going a little better in the second, and then third's where we should really be able to wrap it out. So I'm going to go ahead, get some tools set up, and then I'll show you guys what we're doing. Alright, so what we've got here is we've got an 8mm. Make sure your ratchet's going the right way. They're probably going to be on there pretty dang good. I'm going to pull that one out. A lot of you guys have seen this before on Frankenbike. We did it. Nothing too crazy about it. Should be a pretty straightforward change, but Frankenbike, as you know, has some other issues going on. So we have yet to be able to really cruise old Frankenbike. And there's our cover coming off. A little bit more probably, huh? Alright, so the cover's coming off. What we're replacing is this right here. Alright, so here you go. You can see this should be a 14 tooth. I'm pretty sure that's what they came with. I know that's what the little bit older ones did. That's what Frankenbike came with. We got a 15 here. 1 tooth in the front is like changing 3 in the back. So the front's the bang for your buck. We got enough play in the chain that this should push it forward a little bit. I won't have to adjust the chain, which I was going to do. This is a pretty good bang for your buck. Like I said, 10 to 15 bucks. At the Honda dealership. So let me go ahead and crack these off and we'll go from there. Alright, we got both of these guys loosened up. Nothing too crazy there. There's 1. There's 2. Okay, so this one you see, you got to slide this just up perfect. It's just this little clip. It's got to come off perfect, and then this guy will slide right off. Let the chain kind of hang down there. Let's take a peek and see what we got. If this has the, doesn't say, so let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we got a 14 versus a 15. You can kind of see where it's a little bit bigger and it starts spread. So you line them up here. You can kind of see where this guy's going, and all of a sudden this one just starts to get a few more teeth. So, okay, so what I'm going to do out back here is I'm going to loosen this up, which will allow the axle to slide forward. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This one happens to have 2 different size nuts. Some of them have the same size. What I'll do is allow this axle to slide forward, which we will do. If we have to tap it or just slide it, we'll do that. That'll give us enough play to get this on, because you can see here it's just a little bit off. Just a hair off. So I'm going to do that to the other side. Mine happens to have a 13 and what looks like a 10 on the back. So that worked out really well. I'm going to loosen it, see if we can get just enough slack in the chain to get this on here. Then we'll put the retaining clip on, which is really it's a crazy design, but it works. And we'll put these nuts on, retaining clip, the bolts on. Then we'll just start reassembling, and then we'll take it for a spin and see what it does. So what we got here, we got to loosen the axle up. It's got a 14 and a 19. It is on there good. I need the other hand. There we go. Let's go like that. It's probably a better angle for me to be. You don't need to do it all the way. Just a little bit, enough that we can go. Now you see it slide forward. Let me bring you over here so you can actually. All right, hopefully you're close enough to see that. Slid us up enough. As long as I get this thing lined up. It's got it on there, so. Okay, I only undid probably a couple turns, and then this axle nut and the bolt. And it gave me enough play in here that is able to get this on. So now you can see down in there, I hope you can see down in there, there's a little groove. That's where this locking goes, and then you get it to set onto there and it won't come off. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that put on there. This has not taken me more than 5 minutes. It took me longer to gather the tools than it did to do that, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that put on there. All right, so we got those going on there. I'm going to hit tighten. Just holding the back tire. That guy's on, it's not coming off. Grab that back tire again, I want to make sure it's on. So we got that on, we are good on that one. Next up, we need to tighten this. Do not forget to tighten that axle back down. Problem being, we now have to realign everything, because you see here, you got these marks, and this guy is in between the 2 and 3. This one over here needs to go a little bit farther forward. So I'm just going to take this and actually loosen that up a little bit. Tap that side forward. We are dead center on both of those now. So with those both good, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. I think we're centered up. If you're not centered up, you can cause a lot of issues, and it can really wear your bike out fast. So, all right, I stand corrected. That was a 12, not a 13. I think I mentioned earlier it was a 13. And that one is still a, let's take a peek here, a 10. A lot of things on these bikes are 10. So I've tightened the axle down. I tightened these down. Nothing too crazy. You don't want to go too much or you can break this. You just want them to hold it in place to help kind of lock it in place, lock the axle, make sure your marks line up. Now we're going to be over here. We're going to get this cover back on, and we should be able to hit the street. I'm reaching my hand under to grab that back brake. We're on, so I gotta get under this guard, huh? Okay, now that we're in there, shouldn't be anything but sliding these where they need to go. Get one on and the other should follow, so. All right, we're gonna switch from that to the 8. Got one more. I think that's the. I think the shorter one went at the back. We'll check this out. The longer one, I believe, was up there. The shorter one goes at the back, the longer one goes at the front and the top. I've got the shifter lifted up. There we go, now we're not hearing that anymore. I'm not going to crank the crap out of these because I really don't think they're going to come loose. I just want them snug so that there's no real gap there. All right. That was pretty easy, guys. I'm not going to lie. This one's in pretty decent shape. It looks like the chain's been hitting pretty good. It'll be interesting to see how this new one works. We got perfect amount of play in the chain, about a 1/2 inch there. I'm excited to take it out. Let me go get a different setup on this, and we'll take it for a spin and see what it does. All right, here we go. That dude thought he was going to pass me, so let's see what we got now. 38, we picked up about 3 miles per hour. So, we got back on the bike. Flat ground, I think if I would have had, I probably ran it on, it was probably about a 1/4 mile, 1 mile per hour better. 31 miles per hour instead of 30, but it still felt like it had more. It feels like it needs more now. Like it has the gearing, but it doesn't have the power. But then going down the hill, we picked up 3 miles per hour. As you can see here, 38 miles per hour. It may have still had a little bit left, but I ran them on the same. So this mod right here, which took very little and very little time, very little money, picked us up 3 miles per hour. So not a bad haul for that. Hopefully you guys like these mini bike mods. I know I do. A lot of people are like, oh, do more mini bike stuff. Do more mini bike stuff. Here's a quick, easy one for you if you have a 50, whether it's a Z. I mean, you could do it to the 70. You could do it to the 110. You could do it to whatever you wanted. I'd really like to do it to that KLX 110 and get it 1 tooth bigger in the front. I think it would really pick up some good speed gains. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jordan ride it. She usually rides this bike and just see what she thinks about it. First gear it's not as worthless. It still has plenty of power to get you up hills, but it's not going to like get to that, like you just barely hit the gas and it's time to shift. First gear is now usable. Second gear is pretty good. Third gear struggles a little more up the hills. I mean, it still lugged me up the big hills on it. Hopefully she has a helmet and then can go ride. So let's see, we'll just get a quick rundown from her. All right, Jordan, so this is the bike you normally ride. I normally ride the Z bikes. Normally we have you start out in second gear. This time I wanted you to try first gear because normally first gear is pretty weak. You end up shifting to second really quick. On a steep hill, it's perfect. How did you feel first gear was?
It feels like first gear I could start in first gear more than second gear.
So you could take it a little bit farther and it wasn't so quick to have to shift out?
Yes.
All right, second gear. How did second gear feel?
It felt practically the same.
Do you think you were able to go faster in second?
Yes.
Okay, and third gear. How did third gear feel?
It felt a little less powerful, but when I go up the hill, it feels like I can rev it faster.
What about down the hill? You could go faster?
Yes.
All right, so she feels about the same like I did. The bike is still pretty strong. I feel first gear is more usable now. Of course, I haven't had it up in the foothills and try any of those big hills where first gear used to be like, you could ride first gear all the way to the top. Second gear, I thought felt pretty much the same. It felt untouched, but I could rev it a little bit. Maybe down a little bit on power is how it feels, able to rev it out. Third gear, for me, with my weight, was working. It was really working. It was going, but it felt like it had more to go. Like when I took it out there on that flat road, I was able to hit just 1 mile per hour faster. But I think if I would have had a little more road, or even just like an exhaust and intake and a little jet or something in the carb, I would have been able to definitely exceed those speeds. Downhills where I picked up the 3 miles per hour, she might have picked up even more. She was really cruising. Would you recommend people doing this to their bike?
Yes.
I mean, it's a pretty good mod. I think it costs us $15 and about 15-20 minutes worth of time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks to Jordan for helping out today, and we'll see you guys on the next one.